Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting NEWS22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Tonight on NEWS22.
A man who tried to rob a house ended up being chased by an owner.
A new policy in China could affect how we recycle here in Las Cruces.
And we show you what took place over this past weekend's big event.
All that and more on NEWS22 Thursday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV NEWS22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Selena Madrid.
And I'm Jackie Loetta. The FBI crime statistics are out, and violent crime in Doña Ana County and Las Cruces is down. But statewide in New Mexico, crime is up.
Statewide, the violent crime rate increased almost 7% last year, while it decreased by 6.3% in Las Cruces. The crimes included in the statistics include homicide, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assaults. But there's been an increase in one type of crime. While it decreased by 6.3%, residents have reported a total of 8 vehicles being broken into near Picacho Elementary. Each vehicle had been unlocked in a garage or a driveway. Anyone with information about these incidents are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS.
2 men are out of jail facing several charges after a wild car chase last Wednesday.
NEWS22's Jessica Nevadas talked to the man who chased the suspects.
I'm here in northern Doña Ana County at a residence that was just broken into on Wednesday afternoon. Now, homeowner Andy Pantoja says that had he not stopped by to pick something up, things could have ended a lot differently.
Andy Pantoja was going to his son's house on the 300th block of Bard Rock Road when he noticed a strange car in the driveway.
So I called my son at work to see if he was expecting anyone here at his house. He called me back and said, "Dad, there shouldn't be no one at home."
Pantoja rushed up to the home where he says he saw one man putting a TV in the back seat and another man running into the car to drive off.
I figured if they had a rifle or a firearm, there might be more danger for me, so I decided to pursue.
He took off after the car and reached speeds up to 100 miles per hour.
We always advise people to get as much information as you can, be a good witness, try to get a license plate, a vehicle description, and that is all that we need to then track down that vehicle and make contact with the people that were in the car.
The car chase led Pantoja to the intersection of Doña Ana School Road and Doña Ana Road, where he says the car sideswiped another car and the 2 suspects took off running.
With the help of the neighbors and the witnesses that saw it, we were able to track down both subjects, give the locations to the police officers, and they were both apprehended within 20 minutes of all this happening.
The 2 men were identified by police as Gabriel Polanco and Raymond Garces. Garces had a previous run-in with law enforcement back in 2014 when he and 3 others broke into an MMA fighter's home where his brother was killed. Garces was charged with 1 count of burglary, possession of marijuana, and due care collision and speeding. But the next day, he was released.
It's Friday afternoon, the door's not even repaired, the TVs haven't been replaced, and these 2 subjects are out walking the streets. Now that gets me. That really bothers me.
Pantoja isn't the only one that is frustrated with the outcome.
It's frustrating sometimes for investigators who put a lot of work into cases, especially with repeat offenders, when bonds are set at a level that allows them to make bond.
Pantoja says that he will be adding security cameras around his home to make him feel a little safer. Jessica Navarez, NEWS22.
Instead of being treated for illness, a Las Cruces man is in jail tonight, charged with assaulting healthcare workers.
That's the first story in today's Crime Blotter.
Police say 34-year-old Andrew Scribner walked into Memorial Medical Center Tuesday morning and got into an argument with the staff. Police say he put one person in a headlock and kicked him and punched another who tried to stop him. Police arrested Scribner and charged him with battery and assault. He is now in the Doña Ana County Jail without bond. A 31-year-old Las Cruces man is charged with throwing his stepson to the floor and kicking him. Investigators say Jason Dams told his 11-year-old stepson to turn off his Xbox. Investigators say the boy took his time and Dams got angry and assaulted him. The boy's injuries were relatively minor. Dams was arrested Wednesday afternoon and booked into the Doña Ana County Jail, where he's initially being held without bond. And 30-year-old Ty Terrazas is in jail, charged with multiple counts of assault. Police say he was in Young Park and punched a man who was walking his dog. Police arrived. Terrazas resisted and punched 2 officers in the face. Terrazas was booked into the Doña Ana County Jail, where he's initially being held without bond. I'm Raquel Andujo with today's Crime Blotter.
A rash of criminals targeting university students to get financial information through phone calls are increasing. These calls pretend to be agents from the NMSU Department of Police, FBI, or other investigators. The criminals tell the victims they have a warrant and will be arrested if they don't pay in a timely manner. The NMSU Police Chief Stephen Lopez addresses students to hang up right away when they receive these calls, especially if they ask for financial information.
A lot of criminals out there, especially in foreign countries, who are going to try to take advantage of them simply because of their age. They like to target universities, which is why we've seen this across the United States. And they will try to get information off of websites, off of social media, so that when they call the person, it sounds like they actually know who they're talking to.
If you received these calls in the past or you are asked to call the NMSU Police Department immediately.
There has been lots of clouds in the forecast lately.
There has. I finally had to bring out my jackets this weekend.
Andres is going to tell us more with weather.
And you ladies are right. We have seen a lot of cloud cover in the past couple days and even some rain. Today, right now, we're actually seeing mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are pretty mild at 73 degrees, but as I said, there's still a lot of moisture out there. Our humidity is at 60%, which is relatively high for here in the desert. Dew point at 58 degrees, and our barometer sits at 29.86 inches. We're just 2 degrees shy from our high that we saw today, 75, which is slightly below average for this time of year, but we are moving into fall, so it's kind of expected to see these cooler temperatures. In the year 2015, 2 years ago, we hit a record high of 95, and in the year 1973, we hit a record low of 54 degrees. At the airport, we did see just a slight chance of rain in the early hours. More of that's expected in your 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view. Back to you guys on the desk.
This is Fire Prevention Week, and the New Mexico State Fire Chief says, be careful. Chief Johnny Carrillo says many fires break out in the kitchen and are caused by unattended items such as curling irons and candles. He says Fire Prevention Week is to help remind citizens to be aware of fires of many kinds. Not only is it important to prevent fires, but also to know how to escape from one.
So I can't stress how important that message is. Being familiar with the building you're in, whether it's your home, whether it's your place of your work, or where you're going to school at. Knowing 2 ways out can make the difference of actually getting out of the fire safely or not. Conscious our surroundings, take a look at it, what looks safe, what doesn't, and eliminate those sources that can cause a fire.
He also says this is a good time to make sure your smoke alarms work properly.
The countdown for DACA recipients to renew their application is close to an end. The Bishop of Las Cruces, Oscar Cantu, wants to make sure the community knows some of the stories of DACA students before the deadline arrives. A forum took place yesterday with the Bishop and DACA students as panelists. They answered questions of the audience and told their story and why they deserve to stay.
DACA is very important to a lot of us because it gives us opportunities to work, to go to school, to have a decent job, and just basically to live in this country.
Listen to their stories and to see them, see the human element, that it's not just about numbers, it's about human beings that have particular stories.
DACA is very important.
The show will air next Thursday at 7 right here on KRWG. Do you know what happens to all the stuff you put in your recycling bin? A lot of it was going to China. However, on September 1st, China said they will no longer be accepting imports of mixed paper and plastics. Now the South Central Solid Waste Authority of Las Cruces will have to find other ways to process your recycled goods. Las Cruces recyclables may have to be hauled out of the state to be processed. And due to the recent hurricanes along the Gulf Coast, many processing plants are closed.
And that means that we've told people we can recycle our cardboard, our paper, mixed paper, copier paper, notebook paper, all types of paper together. And the ban on the mixed paper could, in theory, mean that we're no longer able to mix those material streams together. That may require in the future having people separate out their paper the way that they used to before single stream.
You can help with these recycling changes by working to generate less waste in your day-to-day life and to be cautious of what you're throwing away.
Students at NMSU are getting hands-on experience launching weather balloons. These are instruments that records and sends back data of ozone layers and causes in the Las Cruces and El Paso area. NMSU faculty and students are launching the weather balloons as part of a project they began in May and will be presenting their data at a conference in January in Austin.
White Sands Missile Range is opening the Trinity site to the public for free next Saturday, October 7th. You can visit where the first atomic bomb was assembled and detonated 72 years ago. View historical photos and experience what life was like for a ranch family in the early 1940s. The open house times will be from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the site will close at 3:30.
Stay tuned, and Andres will be back with your national forecast.
And later, we show you what went down at Las Cruces' biggest event this past weekend. More on that when News 22 continues.
Las Cruces and El Paso share a lot of history. See why we say Texas history begins in El Paso on our El Paso Gold Heritage documentary series, broadcast Sunday nights on KRWG-TV. See Legends of El Paso's Mountains, Gunfights of the Old West, El Paso's Waco Tanks, Mexican Revolution sites in El Paso, and many more El Paso TV documentaries on KRWG-TV.
Saturday at 12 noon on KRWG-TV.
Being a business underwriter of KRWG says something to our viewers, that your business supports comprehensive news, arts programming, and community information. Shows like Masterpiece, Nova, and Charlie Rose inform and entertain the community, and our business underwriters reach our loyal and supportive KRWG viewers. For information on becoming a KRWG underwriter, please call Marcus Royo at 646-5709. And thank you.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Thursday,
where news matters. Cancer patients in Las Cruces and Doñana County have a little bit of weight lifted off their shoulders after this weekend's big event. The big event is a fundraiser to support local cancer patients.
It was a weekend filled with food and fun, and even an enchilada cook-off. Jimena Tapia has the story.
Who has the best enchiladas in town? The people of Las Cruces got to vote on that during Roberto's Enchilada Cook-Off contest at the big event.
They're all good. Right now it's a three-way tie. I don't know who to go for.
The cook-off consisted of 3 local restaurants, each showcasing their best red enchiladas. Members of the community got to vote on their favorite restaurant. This year's winner was once again Chachi's Mexican Restaurant.
We brought home the trophy last year, and we've been able to advertise as the best red enchilada in Las Cruces. So it's been great.
But this event was not just about enchiladas.
Many people think this is just a replacement for the whole enchilada fiesta, but it's actually a fundraiser to help cancer patients here in Las Cruces.
And so we can help with gas cards to get to treatment. It could be food cards, nutritional cards. It could be utilities. It could be lodging, could be airfare, could be rent, could be mortgage. Those are the types of things we do, basic living needs, so they can concentrate on treatment and recovery.
Not only did this event help cancer patients, but it brought people together to have a good time while making a difference in their community.
Well, it brings people together, and that's the most important thing, you know, and families, you know, it's a good thing.
This is a great organization, so the money is staying here locally, and just like these local restaurants that, you know, your money stays here. We appreciate each and every one, everybody coming out and supporting this event.
CARE says that they plan to continue the big event annually and make it even bigger each year. For News 22, I'm Jimena Tapia.
The Southern New Mexico State Fair and Rodeo is making its return this week, and it's bringing back both old and new attractions. The fair will include traditional rodeo, arts and crafts competitions, concerts, agriculture workshops, carnival rides, and even an exotic petting zoo. One attraction new to the fair is the Swifty Swine Races, where fans can watch pigs race to the finish line. The grand prize is an Oreo cookie for the winning pig. The fair lasts till 6 p.m. on Sunday.
For the third year in a row, all 25 Las Cruces public elementary schools will be hosting International Walk or Bike to School Day, starting Friday, September 29th through Friday, October 13th. All of the guided walking events are open to students, parents, staff, and community members. Last year, the Las Cruces Safe Routes to School program had approximately 21,106 student walkers, 871 student bicyclists, and 5,418 adult volunteers from all 25 elementary schools.
It's been really rainy here, but I'm really wondering what it's looking like at the rest of the United States.
It really has. So Andres is next with your national forecast.
It's been so nice seeing the rain here in the borderland bit. Other parts of the state, or the country, I should say, are doing a lot summer-like temperatures. We're looking at 81 in Memphis, 76 in St. Louis, and much of the places that should be cooler around this time around the Midwest are seeing those kind of like late summer type of temperatures. On our next map, we're going to take a look at how Florida is going to be seeing a lot more rain, and they're still suffering from Hurricane Maria, a tropical system that's starting near the Keys. It's going to work its way up into Florida, going to cause a lot of heavy downpours for most of Miami and the Keys of Florida. Local flooding is expected, as well as travel disruptions along the I-4, Interstate 4, as well as the threat of some storm surge from the coastal communities. The next map is going to show much of New England. Right now, they've been seeing record highs of 80s and 90s, and they're in for a big change. This jet stream that you see right here is going to dip down, bringing in cooler air from the north, and it's going to dip temperatures by 15 to 30 degrees in cities such as Toronto, New York, Boston, and DC. Our next map is going to take us a little closer to home. This is our 48-hour futurecast. As you can see, for the next 2 days, we're going to see a good chance of precipitation for areas here in our region right here in Las Cruces, as well as much of New Mexico and into Colorado. Colorado actually saw a dusting up in the mountains. 6 inches of snow did fall up there near Denver. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be back through New Mexico temperatures and tell you how hot we're going to get coming up.
Here and Now, NPR News middays, weekday afternoons from noon to 2 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on krwg.org.
The relationship between the U.S. and Mexico is a story that goes back and forth, flows back and forth for centuries.
Aunque no hablemos el idioma, a través del arte nos comunicamos y tenemos el lenguaje universal.
Friday at 9 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Next time on A Chef's Life, we eat a whole lot of cabbage here.
Everybody eats
all
cabbage.
over the world, people eat
Make
cabbage.
kraut and kimchi and oh my.
Every person that makes slaw has their own little thing that they do different.
This is health food. Basically, what we're making is kind of barbecued cabbage. Okay. And about how long will this all take? Because I'm starving.
I don't know. I never timed nothing.
Saturday morning at 10 on KRWG TV.
Welcome back, guys. We're going to take a look at our current temperatures across the beautiful state of New Mexico. Right now, you can see very cooler temperatures, 55 in Clovis, 53 in Santa Fe, 63 in Farmington, 62 in Gallup, and 67 in Deming. For our expected highs for tomorrow, we're not going to build up from what we've seen so far. 60 Clovis, just 5 degrees a lot warmer than what we are right now. 59 in Santa Fe, 68 in Farmington, 74 in Deming, as well as Las Cruces. For tonight, Alamogordo, you do have a chance of showers tonight. 20% actually. Low is expected at 57. For tomorrow, you have a 30% chance of showers. Most of that rain is going to stay mostly to the west of us, but you still will see an isolated chance. TRC, thunderstorms are expected for tonight. 60 degrees is your expected low, and you guys have a 50% chance of some scattered thunderstorms for tomorrow with a high expected at 73. Up in Silver City, 55 is your expected low, 67 your expected high. Here in the city of the Crosses, we're looking at some 30% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms in the later hours. Low is expected at 60 degrees. For tomorrow, high is 74 with a 50% chance of rain. I'll tell you how long our rain is going to last in your 5-day forecast for the weekend always in view.
Video of a woman being arrested is getting another police officer in trouble.
That's the first story in today's Southwest Minute.
The video shows the officer violently arresting and dragging a woman toward the back of a police car. The video then shows the woman handcuffed and on the ground. Witnesses say the officer told the woman to put her belongings on the hood of the car and she refused. The officer threw her to the ground and handcuffed her while she was screaming. The Big Spring Police Department is investigating. Heavy rain in Oklahoma City almost floated this SUV away. The driver was pulled to safety. It's not known if the driver is injured, but was able to walk away from the scene. Heavy rain has caused flooding around the state, especially near rivers and lakes. And a suspect is dead after a gun battle and standoff on a busy interstate in California. The suspect fled from authorities in a black SUV. As the driver got close to the Interstate 80, the highway patrol laid down spike strips. The SUV hit the spike strips and crashed. The man was killed in the shootout. I'm Michael Navarrete with the Southwest Minute.
The New Mexico State football team has a pretty tough game this weekend up in Arkansas.
That's right. Hopefully we can bring home that win. Let's hear about it. Kristen?
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, we'll tell you who the athletes of the week are. We'll be right back with NEWS22 Sports.
Next time on A Chef's Life, we eat a whole lot of cabbage here.
Everybody eats
All
cabbage.
over the world, people eat
Make
cabbage.
kraut and kimchi and oh my.
Every person that makes slaw has their own little thing that they do different.
This is health food. Basically, what we're making is kind of barbecued cabbage.
Okay.
And about how long will this all take? Because I'm starving.
I don't know. I never timed nothing.
Saturday morning at 10 on KRWG TV.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
I could call you Betty, Betty, when you call me, you can call me out. Goodbye to Rosie, the queen of Corona. I'll see you, me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See you, me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRW.
This is KRWG TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Kristen Mastretta with NEWS22 Sports. The New Mexico State football team has a tough challenge ahead of them this weekend. The team will head to SEC country to play the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday. Arkansas is 1-2 this season, their lone win coming against Florida A&M with losses to TCU and Texas A&M. Here's our first look at Aggies' 2017-2018 swimming and diving team in their annual Crimson and White meet. Yesterday, the meet consisted of 10 events with 2 relays. New Mexico State is just over 2 weeks out from their season opener at home on October 14th against their WAC competitors in Northern Colorado at 11:30 a.m. This week's New Mexico State Athletes of the Week are Shamad Lomax of the football team and Pun Chanachai of women's golf. Lomax, a defensive back, made a career high of 3 interceptions on Saturday's win against UTEP, and he ran one of them back for a touchdown. Chanachai led the women's golf team with a program record of 63 on Monday in Fort Collins.
It was an amazing day. I did not make any mistake at all on that day, and I'm so glad that I helped the team win on that event. It was amazing.
The high school football teams are back in action this weekend. Las Cruces High will host Gadsden at the Field of Dreams tomorrow at 7, while Centennial will head to Carlsbad to take on the Cavemen. Then on Saturday at 1, Mayfield and Oñate will battle it out in a big city rivalry game at the Field of Dreams. After losing their conference opener last weekend, the Aggie volleyball team will be back in town tonight to host the Chicago State Cougars at 7 in the Pan Am Center. Then on Saturday, they will stay at home for a game against UMKC at 1. Saturday's game is a big matchup for the Aggies as they are right behind the Roos in the standings. A report from CNN says that Justin Timberlake will sing at halftime of Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis. The last time he performed at a Super Bowl was when he was a part of Janet Jackson's Super Bowl 38 performance in Houston in 2004. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action next week. Still ahead on News 22, Andres will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, take a look at this little puppy who now has a home. Find out all about it when News 22 returns.
On the next KRWG Music Spotlight.
Better get on back to school.
Mackie Red and the band. Saturday at 10 p.m. on KRWG TV.
With you beside me, whatever life sends.
We can face it.
Live for the moment and be damned to the consequence.
Russ, hold up. Do you think you'll ever grow up?
Will you? Poldark on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Let's take a look at our top stories. The big event took place this weekend and Chachi's restaurant took home the prize for best enchiladas. 2 men are out of jail after being chased for an attempted robbery. Jessica Nevadas brought us all the details. And recycling here in Las Cruces can change altogether thanks to a new policy in China.
The story of an abandoned puppy found at an airport in Las Vegas went viral over the summer. Now that dog is about to have a permanent family. This image broke the country's heart. A puppy abandoned at the airport with a handwritten note. The note says the owner had no other option. The 2-pound Chihuahua is now being cared for by foster parent Patricia Montaño. Chewy's story garnered international attention from the Washington Post to People magazine and even the BBC.
It's such a cute dog.
I know.
I want it really bad. How's our next 5 days looking on Jack?
We're gonna stay pretty wet for the next 3 days, but we are gonna see 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow, mostly widespread, and we're obviously gonna clear up, and we're gonna be back in the upper 80s by the start of next week.
That sounds awesome. My sorority is going on a chapter retreat this weekend to Ruidoso, so we're super excited. Hopefully the weather permits.
It's gonna be amazing up there. You guys are gonna be cloudy, get to drink hot cocoa, and be very fall-like. I'm pretty jealous now.
Sounds like a good time.
And you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page and youtube.com/KRWG News 22. Catch it at that website.
And follow us on Twitter and Instagram for show updates for a look at what the News 22's team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Thursday. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jackie Loera.
I'm Selena Madrid.
I'm Andres Valle.
Have a good night.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Les saluda Raquel López en este breve informativo de Noticias 22. La policía de Las Cruces arrestó a un hombre sospechoso de aventar a su hijastro y después patearlo. Jason Dams, de 31 años, es acusado por delito grave de 3er grado por abuso infantil. Investigadores descubrieron que el martes Dams estaba en casa con su hijastro de 11 años. Supuestamente Dams le dijo al niño que apagara su Xbox y después lo tomó del brazo y lo aventó al suelo. Dams también es sospechoso de haber pateado al niño en la espalda cuando aún estaba en el suelo. Las lesiones del niño son menores. Dams se encuentra arrestado en la cárcel de Doña Ana sin fianza. Un hombre de Las Cruces de 30 años fue arrestado por haber golpeado a una persona y a 2 oficiales en un parque. Ty Terrazas tiene 2 cargos de delito grave de 4º grado por haber golpeado a un oficial, 2 cargos de delito por evadir y obstruir a un policía y 1 cargo de delito por agresión menor. La policía fue llamada a Young Park por un hombre que supuestamente estaba caminando cuando fue golpeado por Terrazas por una razón desconocida. Terrazas se veía tirando golpes al aire y gritándose a sí mismo. Terrazas se rehusó a cooperar con las órdenes de la policía y caminó hacia una mochila que tenía cerca. La policía utilizó a su arma paralizante temiendo que tuviera una arma. Para Noticias 22, Raquel López.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back